Baltimore Ravens have one of the most talented quarterbacks in the league, but instead of developing him so he can improve, they've been stuck in the mud. In Greg Roman's 4 years as the offensive coordinator, the offense shocked everybody, finishing first in points per game in year 1, but then slipped to 7th, then 17th, and this past year, 19th. Finally, they've made the change, bringing in a new offensive coordinator in Todd Monken, whose philosophy could make all the difference. Coming from the University of Georgia, Monken brings a spread passing scheme, which couldn't be more different than Roman's condensed running scheme. Monken's offense is defined by his intricately designed concepts, his usage of formation and motion, and how he creates a numbers advantage by spreading out. Before we look at how his philosophy will affect the Ravens, we first need to define what was wrong with Roman's philosophy. His offense was all about the run game, point blank period. His scheme brings lots of heavy bodies inside to beat up defenders, then confuses those defenders with a wide variety of run schemes where either the running back or Lamar can keep the ball. The downfall is that they're constantly using heavier personnel with 2 or even 3 tight ends, which makes it harder to marry the run and the pass. This gives him the most varied running game in the league, but that's come at a cost in the passing game, which has never been Roman's forte. Not only is it harder to stretch the defense with heavier personnel, but his schemes are basic and underdeveloped, and because of that, Lamar's passing stats have dropped across the board ever since his MVP season in 2019. Roman put too many of his eggs in the running game basket, which left the passing game in desperate need of a new offensive coordinator. Take this example on 3rd and 12, with 7 minutes left, up 7 against the Dolphins. If the Ravens can convert, they'll continue to drain the clock, but they can't. Miami then scores a touchdown, and then another to win by 4. Roman's had a recurring issue of putting 2 receivers in the same spot, which makes it much easier for the defense. With Isaiah Likely and Devin Duvernay each running curls at the sticks, Jerome Baker and Brandon Jones just are not put in conflict. A better coordinator would put Likely on a deeper route so that Duvernay could fill that voided space, kind of like a dagger-type concept, or flip-flop him and have Likely nestle underneath. Roman struggled to create and exploit space in the passing game, which is a night and day difference from Todd Monken. His spread scheme is basically the polar opposite, where his is a pass-first, spread the defense out as much as possible, instead of the beat you up, everybody's inside, win on the ground. His designs in the passing game are much better. His roots are in coaching quarterbacks and receivers, and it's evident he understands how to stress defensive coverages. He's able to perfectly mesh 2 concepts together to create one cohesive play design. This is his Arches Dagger concept, which stretches the intermediate coverage while working in perfect harmony to stress the deeper coverage as well. Darnell Washington runs an eliminator route underneath, and Brock Bowers runs an arches route behind him. If Washington comes open, Stetson Bennett hits him quick, and if the linebackers run with Washington, Bennett progresses to Bowers. This frees Bowers, but Bennett doesn't quite like the look, so he progresses deep to the dagger route up top. Where Roman couldn't stress the defense deep, Monken stresses him all over the field. Ladd McConkey runs a deep clear-out route to get the nickel and safety out of the way, which opens up space for Marcus Rosemy-Jacksaint on the deeper dig, with Adonai Mitchell running to the flat. Each defender is taken care of, and each route is precisely calculated. Washington, Bowers, and Mitchell clear the intermediate, McConkey the deep coverage, and while Rosemy-Jacksaint doesn't run the best route, or make the catch, you can see how Monken stresses the defense. He understands you need to bring backside receivers into the quarterback's line of vision, so Bennett can just progress to his next guy and comfortably let her rip. A viable passing game is crucial for Lamar to take his next step, and while Monken likes to spread the field wide, he also displayed an ability to scheme open the middle of the field, which is where Lamar's historically loved to throw. He's always attacked over the middle, and done so well. Usually it's quick play-action concepts with Mark Andrews running a crossing route over the middle, a seam, or something like that. A quick crosser or deep over is really where he and Andrews have made their money, and will be a pillar of Monken's passing attack. Even though Bennett is a fairly limited quarterback, Monken was able to scheme open receivers for him over the middle since he wasn't capable of consistently attacking outside. Monken is excellent at making concepts look the same to open that intermediate space, and will have 7 different options out of every formation, or a similar motion to confuse the defense. First, he uses jet motion from Dawan Edwards to manipulate the second level. When Georgia also pulls a guard, watch how the second level reacts to what they think is a run. This is just a little smokescreen that goes for a couple of yards, but then the next time later in the game when Monken spreads him out a bit more and puts a receiver up top, the same jet motion and guard pull causes that same reaction. The second level has to stay outside for the run, which creates a gash up the middle for Brock Bowers to hit his head on the goalpost. Then, a few minutes later, they use the same jet motion and guard pull, but now have their running back sneak away on the play action, which creates a wide open explosive down the field. Monken's spread offense forces every defender to think multiple things at once and account for every eligible receiver doing, well, everything. When any receiver from anywhere on the field can hit you at any time, it creates stress on the defense and makes their job that much harder. When you see these quick motions, you panic, which can mess up even the easiest of assignments, and Monken's offense makes defenses pay when they hesitate even for just 1 second. Last week, we talked about how in zone coverage, cornerbacks are responsible for the most outside receiver and the safety the next one over. Monken loves these tight bunch formations where he can use motion to mess with LSU's assignments. When McConkey is the most outside, the corner has him and the safety Darnell Washington, but when McConkey motions across, now the corner has Washington and the safety Bowers, but similar to what we saw in last week's episode, the two receivers switch, so now Washington is the safety's responsibility since he's now inside. Monken knowing how to use these quick motions to trigger quick assignment changes often gets the defense out of sorts. When looking at some of the other spread principles in his offense, you might think it just refers to the pass, but it's going to play a major role in the run game. Spread offense refers to the formation being spread out further on the field to stress the defense and make them defend every blade of grass. This contrasts Roman's scheme, which condensed the entire formation inside close to the ball, which gives you a lot of blockers, but also condenses in the entire defense. He stubbornly ran into stacked boxes last year, the second most in the NFL, which is when there are more than 7 defenders in the box. Monken doesn't believe in that whatsoever, and instead wants to spread to run. The spread is all about creating a numbers advantage where they'll focus on one defender and send the ball opposite his direction. Monken loves calling package plays where he tries to free up the box or free up space for the pass, then depending on what that specific defender does, he knows he has the advantage. When he motions McConkey in, he's looking to see what LSU does. When McConkey comes back outside, Bennett is reading Harold Perkins. If he stays outside for the screen, which Monken loves to run too, that leaves 6 blockers for 6 defenders in the box, which is advantage Georgia, since if every defender gets blocked, nobody is there to hit the running back. If Perkins fits inside to give them that advantage, now we have 3/2 and McConkey can run for days. The play doesn't work here, but giving his offense the numbers advantage over and over creates more and more explosives. What's maybe the most exciting aspect is what this spread offense will do for Lamar in the running game. Where Roman thought to condense everybody, Monken, as I said, loves to spread everybody out. By putting 4 of his 5 eligibles in space, 4 defenders have to match, and even with just 1 safety deep, this still gives South Carolina a 6-on-5 advantage, so they have each gap covered and an extra defender to hit the running back just like you want. Well, Monken is just going to neutralize that advantage with the zone read, not block Gilbert Edmond at all. Now that's 5-on-5 in the box, and even though Edmond does a good job of popping back out when Stetson pulls the ball, imagine Lamar Jackson in this kind of offense with fewer defenders in the box. Lastly, when looking at how the Ravens have constructed their offense for this upcoming season, Monken has some concepts they're going to use specifically now that they have Odell, Zay Flowers, and Rashad Bateman coming back. This is a perfect concept for when your talent is simply better, and gives Lamar the option to attack over the middle as well. 9-8-9 has 2 go routes and a dig that can convert based on coverage. Since it's 2 high safeties, Kearis Jackson converts his dig route to a post to split the 2 up the middle, and quite often this gives you one-on-ones outside if Lamar wants to bomb the ball deep. What's fun about the concept is Monken can mess with personnel to define the defense's personnel and make them bigger or smaller, faster or slower. If he puts Andrews in the slot here at the bottom and uses Isaiah Likely as a second tight end to chip, the defense has to sub this nickel cornerback out for a linebacker since they have to match to stay big. If they keep the nickel when Andrews is in to guard the deep ball, then you can just motion him into the core and pound the rock. You could put him in the slot, Isaiah Likely, you could go fast with Odell, Rashad Bateman, Zay Flowers. Monken has a million different options to switch in and out different skill players because the Ravens have in abundance. He can either run 11 personnel, which is 3 receivers to spread out the defense, then have Lamar run into light boxes, or use 12 personnel with 2 tight ends and create more of a run game while remaining viable in the pass. Roman always chose the latter, and his inability to scheme up the pass is what ultimately got him fired. The experience Todd Monken brings in the passing game will be monumental, and then the shift in philosophy from condensed to spread out will create even more space for the Ravens offense to flourish. He wants to get the ball in his playmaker's hands with space, and that's what he'll do, but lucky for him, his best playmaker touches the ball every single play. That's what he has never had, and will be fascinating to watch what he adds on to what we've gone over today. The Ravens are already good, and now have added talent on the outside. They found a coordinator whose philosophy can help their best player, and with the talent upgraded, Lamar is back and paid, Baltimore is about to be scary.